Hey everybody, welcome back to Jackson Jet Setting. Today I want to go over some tips and tricks for sailing on Symphony of the Seas. She's one of my favorite Royal Caribbean ships and one of the Oasis class vessels, some of the largest in the world. If you're thinking of sailing on her soon or are already booked, watch the rest of this video for time and money saving tips to make your cruise even better. If you like cruise content or this video, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Symphony of the Seas was launched in 2018 and was the largest ship in the world at the time. She's since been beat by her sister ship Wonder of the Seas and the new Icon of the Seas, but bottom line, she is a giant ship. To save the most on your cruise vacation, I do recommend booking as early as possible. These schedules come out years in advance. This is traditionally when the best sails are, and many sailings are selling out nowadays. Once booked, download the Royal Caribbean app and book any onboard and onshore excursions you might want to participate in. You'll save a lot of money as there are frequent sales, around Black Friday and big holidays. And if the activity drops in price before you sail after you've already paid for it, you can cancel and rebook for a full refund. So the payment does go on your card when you book those things, but it's free to cancel. For food, I recommend the unlimited dining package on every Oasis class ship. There are 6 specialty dining restaurants on board, plus several others that are a la carte. So for less than $200 a person when booked during a sail, it is a great deal. I find the main dining room to be too slow and busy for my taste, and I'm not the biggest fan of the current menus. It might be perfectly fine for your family, however, so my favorite restaurants on board are 150 Central Park, Wonderland, which are great additions to Symphony of the Seas. Old standbys like Chops Grill are here as well. The only disappointing dinner we had was at Hooked, but the location above the solarium, with amazing views out the front of the ship, more than made up for the just okay food. Cabin selection is very important on board. If you've never cruised before, I recommend an ocean view balcony. There are many balconies on board Symphony of the Seas. The newer ships are all designed for this because people love a good balcony. But you do have to know that there are 2 types of balconies that don't have ocean views on board any Oasis class ship. The Central Park neighborhood and the Boardwalk neighborhood balconies are still technically balconies because they do have fresh air and they do have a balcony that you can step out on, but they do face inward into the ship. These are much cheaper than ocean views, but you'll have a view across the way to another cabin. Some of the boardwalks will have a little peekaboo view of the ocean, but it's not that straight on ocean view that you know and love. It's not as nice in my opinion. Being located near a stairwell or elevator might be important to you too, as these ships are incredibly large and a long walk to your cabin is possible if you're too far forward or aft on the ship. Ditto for your main hangout spot on the ship. If you're a pool person, locating yourself on the upper decks might save you some elevator time. They do get busy. Same for being close to dining options like the Windjammer, which are up on that pool deck. Most will include Perfect Day at CocoCay, which is an excellent private island that Royal Caribbean has put over $200 million into over the past 5 years. There are upcharges like the Thrill Water Park and the new adults-only Hideaway Beach, but have been very worth it in my experience. There are 100 different free activities though, including just sitting on the beach. All the beach chairs are free, umbrellas, that sort of thing. There's free lunch, Wi-Fi from the ship if you've purchased it, works on shore, and even your drinks package. So that's a really great savings there. Again, book in the app before your cruise of anything on this island. It does tend to sell out, and there are more than one ship in port with you most of the time. If you're looking for a full tour of the island, we have that up on the channel as well. In Nassau, try to check out John Watling's Distillery, which is a free tour up the hill from port. Otherwise, popular options like Atlantis can be pretty pricey, but are very worth it in my opinion. Check out my full tour on the channel of Atlantis and the new competitor, Baha Mar, which is a short drive away from port, for some itinerary ideas. I did also just visit the Blue Lagoon after its reopening, and so you can check out that video on the channel as well, and I'll put those links down in the description. Back on board, I highly recommend booking your show times well before your cruise. This opens up about 60 days before. It's never really clear when this actually opens, but it does in fact open, and then you can make your reservations, and ensures you're able to see shows like Hero in the Aqua Theater, Hairspray in the Royal Theater, the Ice Skating Show, Flight, the production show. There's other activities like laser tag that are bookable once you're on the ship and connected to the ship's Wi-Fi. The only thing that's pretty hard to book in advance are the comedian shows. These are in the attic, which is down in Entertainment Place. It's pretty hard to book just because the venue itself is pretty small, but they do a ton of comedy shows throughout the cruise, and you're able to stand by. We were able to see multiple during our sailing, so just keep that in mind, that a little bit of flexibility and you'll be able to see some comedians. Speaking of Wi-Fi, there's also available for a discount before you're sailing. The ship uses Starlink, and it is largely amazing, with sometimes being a little bit slower than normal, but it is fantastic and a big improvement of what was before. But if you're not someone who needs to be connected, do make sure you connect to the Wi-Fi for free to access the app, where you'll find the ship's activity schedule. You'll also be able to book things on board easier here than waiting in line at guest services. A big question I am often asked is the beverage package worth it? Now, if you are a big drinker, if you're someone who's going to have 10 drinks a day, no matter what, yes, the beverage package is definitely going to be worth it. I do want you to understand, though, that if you're traveling with someone who is not as big of a drinker, they are still going to have to purchase that beverage package if they're in the same cabin as you. Now, if they do have a medical reason for not being able to purchase the alcohol package, they can get a non-alcoholic package, but just keep that in mind. This is to prevent sharing of a beverage package, and kind of makes sense because a lot of people were cheating, and obviously that's no good for the bottom line of Royal Caribbean. There's only one type of adult beverage package on board, the deluxe beverage package. It's good for cocktails up to $14, I believe. There are a lot of bars on board the Symphony of the Seas, so this can come in handy if you're doing some sort of bar crawl, or if you're bumping back and forth all across the ship and just want to try everything. I will say a lot of the menus are pretty similar bar to bar. There are a few exceptions. There's some specialty bars, the specialty restaurants that you don't need a reservation for, that you can go in and use your beverage package at. This is one quibble I have with Royal Caribbean. I feel like ships like Virgin and the Disney ships do a really good job of making each cocktail menu pretty unique, and really just encourages you to try new things once you're in that venue. So I do like that about the beverage package, though, is that you can try a drink that maybe you wouldn't try on shore. It's all included. You've already paid for it, so might as well at least try it. And if you don't like it, you can always get something else. Unlike Carnival, they don't limit you on the number of alcoholic drinks that you could have each day, so you can go crazy, but of course use discretion and always drink within your limits. Well, that just about does it for this video. I hope you enjoy your sailing on Symphony of the Seas, and that this video saves you a little bit of time and money on your sailing. If you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of it. Thanks a lot, and happy sailing.